สวัสดีค่ะทุกคนวันนี้เรามาคุยกันเรื่องประเทศญี่ปุ่นนะคะแล้วก็ผลกระทบของโควิด -19 กับเศรษฐกิจแล้วก็ธุรกิจของญี่ปุ่นค่ะวันนี้จะมาสัมภาษณ์กับคุณอากิซึ่งเป็นเพื่อนของเป็นเพื่อนเก่ามานานนะคะคุณอากิเองเนี่ยก็เคยทำงานเป็นในวงการการตลาดแล้วก็เป็นผู้บริหารระดับสูงของบริษัทญี่ปุ่นหลายๆบริษัทเช่น Sony Picture Entertainment หรือว่าบริษัท Higher Asia ซึ่งเป็นบริษัทเครื่องใช้ไฟฟ้านะคะมุมมองเนี้ยจากคุณอากิก็คงจะน่าสนใจพอสมควรเลยทีเดียวที่อาจจะมาพูดเกี่ยวกับเรื่องความสามารถในการจัดการตัววิกฤตนี้ของรัฐบาลแล้วก็ผลกระทบกับเศรษฐกิจเราก็ยังคุยถึงเรื่องการเลื่อนโอลิมปิกด้วยนะคะว่ามีผลกระทบยังไงบ้างวันนี้อาจจะขอเกริ่นนำนิดนึงนะคะว่าก่อนที่จะมีวิกฤตโควิด -19 เนี่ยจริงๆแล้วญี่ปุ่นก็มีเผชิญกับปัญหาของเศรษฐกิจฝืดเคืองมายาวนานกว่า20ปีอันเนื่องมาจากคนญี่ปุ่นเข้าสู่สังคมผู้สูงอายุปัญหาของการที่ดอกเบี้ยต่ำคนก็เข้ามากู้ยืมเงินเป็นเงินสกุลเยนแล้วก็ทำให้เงินเนี่ยแข็งค่าพอแข็งค่าก็ทำให้มีผลกระทบกับการส่งออกคุณไหมคะแล้วก็นอกเหนือจากนั้นเนี่ยก็ยังเป็นเรื่องของการที่ญี่ปุ่นเองกู้ยืมเงินรัฐบาลเนี่ยกู้ยืมเงินเยอะมากแล้วก็หนี้ต่อ GDP เนี่ยสูงมากๆเลยเพราะว่ากู้เงินมาใช้เป็น government spending อันนี้ก็เป็นปัญหาหรือว่าจะเป็นปัญหาในแง่ของวัฒนธรรมของการจ้างงานตลอดชีพของบริษัทญี่ปุ่นก็ทำให้เกิดภาระให้กับบริษัทญี่ปุ่นมากมายนะคะประเด็นต่างๆเหล่านี้แล้วก็อีกมากมายเนี่ยรวมถึงประเด็นด้านเศรษฐกิจแล้วก็ประเด็นทางด้านวัฒนธรรมด้วยเนี่ยทำให้ญี่ปุ่นเนี่ยค่อนข้างที่จะซัฟเฟอร์แล้วก็มีเศรษฐกิจที่โตช้าหรือว่าเศรษฐกิจฝืดเคืองในปัจจุบันวันนี้เราจะไปคุยกันเกี่ยวกับเรื่องตัวผลกระทบที่เกิดขึ้นจากโควิด -19 นะคะกับเศรษฐกิจญี่ปุ่นแล้วก็อาจจะคุยนิดนึงเกี่ยวกับเรื่องตัวโอลิมปิกด้วยไปคุยกันค่ะ
Hi, Swadika. So we have Mr. Yoshiaki Ito with us today. Aki, as I called him, is a very good friend, a long-term friend, and he is the former CEO of Higher Asia. At the same time, he's also used to be a senior executive for Sony Picture Entertainment. Right now, he's the CEO of Xtang Japan, a turnaround project consultancy firm that help with projects, for example, with the Japanese government, with Japan Display. So obviously, it will be quite an interesting perspective to hear from Aki as to what's going on in Japan right now. So let's start.
Okay. Sure.
So Aki, hi, how are you today?
Good, and you?
Well, can't be better. Just staying at home and self-quarantine, being responsible. So we heard about what has happened in Japan recently. The government, Mr. Abe, has announced state of emergency. At the same time, announced a stimulus package, a very generous stimulus package, almost $1 trillion, equivalent to 20% of Japanese GDP. It's humongous. So lots of questions around that as well. But
Sure.
I guess first question is, how are you? How's your families? How's everything?
Okay, thanks for asking. First of all, to begin with, I'm not sure if the media has conveyed the right message, but yes, Mr. Abe has announced the declaration of the state of emergency 2 days ago, which started yesterday, right? But it's different from the complete lockdown in Japan. It's more of a, I would call it semi-lockdown. Very, very, I would say, lame. Because people can still go out and then they still commute, although number of commuters definitely has decreased, but the data shows that only 15 to 20% of the people have who are using the train system has decreased. In other words, the concept for this is that they have to have like 80% of the decrease in terms of socialization, but according to the data, I don't think it's gonna reach 80% at all, because it's only 15-20% decrease in terms of commuting.
I
So I
see.
think we still have a long way to go. So I just want people to understand that this is not a lockdown at all. And I personally believe they should be locked down like other countries in Asia.
But I assume that can be done because of the law. Right?
Correct. So under the current Japanese law, the best they could do is the government could do is to request people. So it's depending on Japanese people's nature, I think. I guess we tend to be very obedient, right? And I guess that's what the whole play is about. So government, as Mr. Abe is asking us to stay at home, asking businesses to make the employees work remotely, which under the most recent data that I checked, only like 7 to 8% of the companies are doing the remote work. In other words, a lot of the companies who are in the entertainment sectors or service sectors, they can't even do that, right? And then there are a lot of small and medium-sized businesses in Japan, which accounts to 78% to almost 80% of the total businesses in Japan are considered the small businesses. So those companies, they don't have the infrastructures. And in many cases, a lot of the big companies are their main clients. Only the bigger companies, like people who work in a major corporate, the global conglomerates, are working from home. But the small and medium-sized companies who are working for them are not really in that circumstances right now. So it's still far from truly working remotely from home.
So you're saying that most SMEs are not capable of work from home ability. So most of the companies will have to shut down, either that or still have to go to work, obviously to make sure that they still exist and still going on.
Exactly. So I guess that goes back to your point of the generous package the government is saying that they're going to give, right? So to clarify the whole point, yes, the announcement sounded really generous, but there are lots of hurdles. For example, the government has just announced that each household will get $3,000 worth of aid, but then when you look at the true package, people who are eligible to get that sort of money from the government, it's very tiny. So it's not evenly distributed to begin with. So people who are already in a poverty level, so let's say about 5% of the Japanese populations, they're said that only 5% of people can get that $3,000 or 300,000 yen package from the government. So again, that helping out this so-called Japanese citizen, it's not really working. And then there the package that you mentioned about the $3 level, 20% of the GDP level aid, we are very skeptical about it because with the recent the counter plans that government has come out with, it's not really on time, so to speak. And it takes a lot of time for them to make a decision comparing to other countries in the whole world. I personally, as a business leader, I feel like the government should do much better job, because it just takes so much time, even for the aid that they're talking about. People are saying that it may, government may be able to start to distribute that earliest will be end of May. How about people who are living on a day-to-day basis, including a lot of small businesses? They need cash right away. Then the government is asking a lot of companies to either shut down or at least refrain from doing business. Meaning, who's going to pay that money, right? And
so they need cash now, right?
Exactly.
Right now, yeah.
And then for the people who may get the money from the government, it's like really tiny. It doesn't represent the whole. So I wonder, big time. I have a big question mark about this whole aid, how it's going to be distributed.
I would definitely want to ask you also about, what do you think about the impact to Japanese economy, so far, and what will be the impact for the economy, say 6 months onward or even a year onward? Because it seems to be a huge tsunami coming in, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be very, very tough in the future.
To begin with the assessment, right? I think we should understand that Japan has been in, well, we've always talked about this as the last 2 decades. Japan hasn't grown, for the past 2 decades, 20 plus years, right?
Yeah.
After the bubble bursted.
Yeah.
So that's a long time for the company not to grow, right? And then we had this Tokyo Olympic in the summer, which was supposed to happen, but then it's delayed now. But with the Tokyo Olympic, utilize Olympic as a booster for the economic booster, right? It was sort of working, but with this happening, so going back to the point that we haven't grown for the past 20 plus years, plus this, boosting ingredients as an Olympic is not there anymore. The economic impact is just humongous. And I think it's going to be, well, a lot of people seeing this as a, probably like equivalent to after World War II. So like, yes, we had the tsunami, the Fukushima and all those disasters, or like typhoons in the past, but this is not even a comparison because as you see, there's no, how do you say, we don't see the lights yet, right? And it just seems to be, it's getting darker and darker. And I hate to be so negative, but even looking at my own businesses, I've do lots of seminars and the executive coachings or the, supporting marketing, PR, all these kind of events. Everything is canceled now, and we don't even know when it's going to start. So it's pretty scary when you look at the whole situation.
How about sectors? Do you see any sectors that suffer right away, had to close down right away?
Yeah.
How about other any sector that you think going to get the hardest hit in Japan? Obviously, we see no one's going to Japan anymore in terms of tourism will suffer and retail.
Right.
But the fact that Japanese cities are not closing down malls and shopping centers and restaurants. So I mean, what's the implication right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the biggest hit so far is definitely, as you mentioned, tourist industry, because a lot of we depend on a lot of tourists from China, Korea, of course, Thailand, Southeast Asian countries, and none of them are showing up now, of course. So they are having a big hit now, and also along with that line, restaurant business as well. They're depending on daily cash business, and a lot of people are refraining from going to especially now that a government has asked not to go out to the restaurants at night. They're starting, a lot of people who go out and dining are decreasing big time.
Does people listen?
I guess that's the nature of Japanese people. Somewhat obedient, although there are some people who don't even care and they still party around. But the thing is, there are not many restaurant places are open at the moment. So, I guess the restaurant business is definitely one of the area. And also another sector that's being hit is the entertainment field, of course. Like normal events. Like I have my own event company, but it's not even working anymore because definitely, there's no place for no way to get the money or no way to get the people to get into the venue anyways, right? Because it's all locked down in that sense. So those are I would say the most recent one that's being hit. But eventually, as a Japanese economy as a whole, Japan is a country where manufacturing is a major businesses, and like Toyota, for example, they're already delaying production of the cars because they can't get the parts from China, and also they even shut down the countries. Shut down the factories in Thailand.
Do you think that even with the new stimulus package that was announced, it seems from you that it's not going to help out as much? At the same time, how do you think the government handling the COVID-19 situations are going to go on? How do you think it's effective? Do you think that they can manage this risk, or do you think that Tokyo might become the new epicenter for coronavirus in
have to be very
the world?
Careful in terms of answering that question because assuming that the benefit, I mean, the package the government, is giving us will help, I still think that since we don't see the ending of this, we don't see the lights, we're still in the darkness, we're in the tunnel, right? But we don't see lights yet. So I think as a business leader, from that perspective, it's going to be really tough. And even if the government aid is helping, but I'm like I mentioned earlier, I'm very skeptical about this. So it's going to be a disaster, right? And then in terms of going back to your second part of your question, is Japan going to be the next epicenter of this thing? So far, as of today, although our numbers reaching higher and higher every day, the COVID case is rising on a daily basis. So far, we have 5,000 plus cases in Japan as a total, not including the cruise ship, patients. So that's 5,000, and we're seeing this number to be increased, of course, and with the semi-lockdown situation, government not being to force people to lock down as other countries. And I guess that's also part of the government, decision to not to slow down the economy, because they don't want the total slowdown or total blackout of the economy. They want us to sort of continue doing business as much as possible. So I would see that the numbers going to go up higher, and with the current approach, I'm not comfortable at the way to handling this situation.
Can I assume that your confidence in the government as well as the stimulus package are pretty low, and you don't think that whatever it is that the government came up with recently will help? Or it might help, but it will not solve the problem, or it might not help flattening the curve.
Oh, definitely not helping out the even if the stimulus package, assuming if it works, which I have a big doubt, by the way, but put my personal concern aside. Okay. Assuming if it works, I still think it's gonna be very, very difficult to flatten out the the damage, because it's just never ending, right? So, but again, just to give some credits to the Japanese government as well. I know they're working hard as well, right? Put aside that if it's working, but at least they're working hard to come up with the right solutions. I think it's same in every country, right? Every country is trying to fight this war. We don't even know the enemy, right? So I personally see this as a third world war sort of situation, and we just don't see the ending yet, because people are saying that it takes about 18 months or so to get the vaccines and everything coming out if they're lucky, right? So from that perspective, let's see if this situation lasts like, say, 6 months, for example. We know then we just have to sort of hang in there for 6 months. But the thing is, if it's longer than that, oh boy, I think it's there's going to be a lot of unemployment situation, and a lot of companies are going down.
But Japanese are resilient. They've been through so much in the past already. Well, because how disciplined they are, in terms of listening to others and being able to be socially responsible to government orders. Do you think that will help at all?
It has helped a lot in the past. As you mentioned, we've been to lots of natural disasters like tsunami or typhoon or earthquake, and we've always come back, right? And I guess that's part of the nature of the Japanese culture. We're resilient and we're obedient in a sense. I think it works only in the case where we see the light. You know what I mean? In this case, we don't even know if the government is, I would say the people in the leadership position is giving the right order. For example, like quarantine situation, lockdown, semi-lockdown, state of emergency, or the, this benefit, the package that they're offering. As long as they're doing the right job as a leader, only then being obedient or being resilient as Japanese people, would work. So in other words, I'm having a big doubt in this case. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see the positive side yet.
Well, I hope you're wrong too in this case, and
Yeah,
I
I really hope so.
Yeah, I hope that we get out of this alive and well and healthy, and I hope that pretty much your families and obviously you yourself are staying healthy and everything's going to go back to normal soon. But it is truly unlikely, and it's not just Japan, but I suppose every countries around the world are suffering for that right now. One thing that I was wondering, because everyone was so looking forward to the Olympic, and obviously Japanese are pretty much so, because obviously that will be their last bet to revive the economy. But now,
exactly.
and I think lots of people were saying that the government are so obsessed with not trying to push the Olympic to next year, so much so that they kind of lacking in terms of trying to preventing COVID-19 for its own citizens. So what's the impact of basically pushing this Olympics for another year?
I think to give the credit to the Japanese government, Japan government is not in the position, or was not in the position, to say, hey, we want to postpone this.
Yeah.
Because if they say that, that means Japan as a government, as a country, will have to pay the penalty to the Olympic Committee, right? It has to be from them saying this has to be postponed.
Sure.
So in a way, I think Abe and Ms. Koike was waiting for the Olympic Committee to say that, let's postpone this, Although postponing is much better than canceling, for sure, for anybody, right? So definitely, it's a big decision for everybody to postpone the Olympic. And I personally think it's a good thing that it's been postponed. Because even if we hold the Olympic now, who would come, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't
no
come.
Yeah,
but then the issue still remains, right? People are saying that, even experts saying it's going to take 18 months or so to get the vaccine, invented. Meaning,
you're lucky.
are we going to be safe, right? Exactly. So now what? Say 1 year, 12 months from now, are we ready? I don't know if we're ready.
I think even if you're lucky, the fact that you have to produce enough vaccination for the whole world,
exactly,
that's going to take another year or two.
Yeah. So I think the Olympic is being postponed or canceled, due to the war before, I think. So it's a similar situation, I think. And as a host country, I guess we are lucky to say that it's been postponed, not canceled.
Right.
But definitely, I don't think it's gonna be, how do you say, same in the next coming year. Can we have the Olympic next year? I doubt it.
Right.
But nobody talks about that now. I mean, I was even surprised to see the news, that the Olympic Committee of Japan is talking about next year's plan already. I'm like, whoa.
We gotta have hope.
Well, yeah. True.
Well, thank you so much. And this has been great. And hopefully, we all getting out of this alive, and we can basically catch up again, and I can basically go back to be the beautiful Tokyo, and we can basically have izakaya again, and talk about life and world, and looking at this and laughing at this situation very, very soon.